For a time is coming when people will no longer listen to sound and wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires and will look for teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ears want to hear. Have we ever lived in a time when this was more true? Think about it. There are a million voices vying for your attention. You choose who you want to hear and silence those you don't with a press of a button. And you can only listen for a few minutes before you move on. You see, people don't like absolutes anymore. We would rather have a conversation than be told something is wrong. What's right for you might not be right for me. We don't like to be confronted or disciplined. Would a loving God really do that? I am worried we are coming to a time when the gospel will be transient, based on people's experiences rather than truth. I can still feel God and live this way. I can still feel God and live that way. What matters is that we feel something, whether that's God or not, as long as they feel good, right? But what is the truth? Have you noticed how God appears different depending on who you speak to? If you go to a church of grace, God appears graceful. If you go to a traditional church, God appears austere and distant. And what was profane to Christians of our great-grandfather's generation is now open for discussion. But I ask you, what is profane to our generation? And what if our great-grandchildren see no fault with these things? Does God change as well, from generation to generation? Who is God really? If we base truth on experiences, nothing really makes sense. What if somebody comes to you and says, I want Jesus, but I have a problem with this or that which he said, or something his followers said? The temptation is, and always has been, to make the truth more easy to swallow. Soften the message a bit, so it goes down easier, or seems more attractive. Make Jesus look like a modern hero. But what kind of message is this? What kind of Jesus is this? Is this really the Jesus of the Bible? And is there really power in this message to deliver people from darkness and sin? But as long as they feel something, it's okay. Or is it? Woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, for that is how their ancestors treated the false prophets. Luke 6:26. I sometimes worry when people love us too much, when people are too happy to come in and feel no conviction. I read the Bible and something doesn't match. Beaten, stoned, mocked, crucified. The world hated those who went before us. Why are we so different? The wheat and the tares look the same at first, but only when full grown can you see what is false. Standing for a fake Jesus will be easy. You'll be invited to speak, celebrated by crowds, loved by the world. But standing for the real Jesus will be costly. It will not be popular or acceptable to the modern audience. But God will sustain you, and you will have power. So stay awake, church, for a time is coming when people will no longer listen to sound and wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires and will look for teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ears want to hear.